Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Prue.
This is Bryce Vine.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This
East.
is Sebastian Younger.
This is Daryl Andy.
This is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
This is Dr. Bob Greenberg.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
And our guest today is D. Edward, percussionist, singer, recording artist,
voiceover actor.
Actor.
Film actor, too. Now.
Yeah, regular actor. Also
Underwear
film,
model.
sound.
Yeah, not an underwear model yet.
Yes.
I don't think anyone wants to see that. But
Well,
I am writing a film as well.
okay.
Potential film writer.
You only
We'll
get to
use
count that when you're done.
Yeah.
So
You can say emerging.
we call you a recording artist because you have 2 complete albums.
I do.
And so there's that. If you were still working on your first album, we'd be like, yeah, he's recording some things.
Yeah.
Actually, quietly, as is kept, I have like 5 recorded albums, but they're not under D. Edward.
Oh.
There's some that I want to keep secret.
Nice.
See.
Did you record that birthday song, Zoom from the Moon? Zoom from Outer Space?
That's me. That is me.
That song.
All right. Well, today's album fight is a doozy. All right. We have Earth, Wind, and Fire's I Am versus the debut album from Elvis Costello, My Aim Is True. For our pre-fight analysis, we go to Richard Lackey. Richard, what do you think?
As they say in the fight game, styles make fights, and a clash of genres always makes for an interesting album fight. And boy, do we have differing styles in this one. Will it make a great fight or a blowout? Let's see. Up first is the 9th studio album from soul, funk, jazz, disco, Latin, insert almost any dance genre legends, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Released in 1979 and during the disco craze, this album earned the band multiple Grammy nominations. On a side note, there was actually a Grammy category, Best Disco Recording. That was actually a thing once. And in this album produced mega hits, Boogie Wonderland and After the Love Is Gone. This is a veteran band in their prime. The album was given a 5-star review from Rolling Stone magazine, which is always impressive. It's up against the 1977 debut album from Elvis Costello. Costello still worked his day job as a data entry clerk, even through the release of the first 2 singles, Allison and Less Than Zero, until finally the record company offered to match his salary if he'd go full-time as a musician. That's quite an act of confidence in him. And the rest is pretty much history. This album was also given a 5-star review from Rolling Stone magazine, so these are 2 powerful albums. Also, it's important to note that this fight is based on the original album, which did not have Costello's hit, Watching the Detectives, which was later added to the American release. So he's starting the fight with a bit of a disadvantage, and one I think may play into the outcome for some of the judges. These albums are unmatched in track numbers, so Costello is going into 3 rounds with 2 songs. Against 1. So I'm not sure, and I don't know if we've done enough to really look at the data on this, but I'm not sure if that proves to be an advantage or disadvantage to bands. I will say that at least in 2 of those 3 rounds, they're lesser songs. So I'm not so sure if it's going to play heavily into the outcome. Earth, Wind, and Fire can expect strong rounds in 1, 3, and 5, whereas Costello may prove stronger in rounds 4, 6, and 7. And once again, we have a fight where big hitting songs aren't going up against each other, which tells me this fight will probably be closer than first expected. Now, R&B is not a genre in my wheelhouse, I'll admit it, and while I know the broad strokes of Elvis Costello's career, I'm far from knowledgeable on his overall deep catalog. So I've enlisted a new patent-pending album fight analysis technique based on multiple variables from reviews, sales, streaming popularity numbers, things like that. It's really quite scientific and impressive. And I've come to the conclusion that this fight will be 5 rounds to 4 for Elvis Costello. My aim is true. But I predict we will have a split decision with our judges because I do not believe for 1 second that both John and Pete can vote against Earth, Wind, and Fire. They just love them too much. I think one of them might, but both of them won't. I think it'll end up going to the guest judge, but Costello will eke out a very tough and well-earned victory. Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Richard, for that pre-fight analysis. I'm not positive that I agree with it totally, but we'll see how the scorecard pans out. Round 1, In the Stone versus Welcome to the Working Week. D, what do you think?
I think that In the Stone is an amazing song. Just that intro. It's the best intro to me in music.
That's a strong statement.
Is.
That is a strong
That is
strong
huge.
statement.
That is huge. It's energetic. It's huge. It's like, I mean, come on. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, to Elvis's benefit, Welcome to the Working Week sounds like a long chorus. I love Elvis Costello. He's my favorite. I give Earth, Wind & Fire a 10.
Pete?
Yeah, Into the Stone is a great song, and I learned that white people don't know about it. So I'm proud to say that I know about it.
Did you say Into the Stone?
I'm sorry, In the Stone.
That's not the last time he'll do that.
Yeah, I'll make, because it doesn't make any damn sense. In the Stone.
It is a King Arthur reference.
That's right.
The thing I want to say is, this song is iconic. The horns are, they're undeniable. They're obvious. The one thing I have trouble with that is the transition from the horns into the song. Like, it's a little jerky. You're like, and I got to get set back down again. So, but
See, I disagree with that.
Oh, I love it.
Nah, I just don't think it works to the song's benefit in terms of how we're looking at things here. I do think that it wins 10-9, but you're talking about Welcome to the Working Week. Elvis is going to go. So here's the thing. Elvis isn't even supposed to be in the ring against an established act like Earth, Wind & Fire. You know, it's like they were going to go against Kiss. But Kiss cut his eye, they cut their eye in sparring like on a Wednesday. And they're like, maybe it'll be better. And like, no, it ain't better. Saturday morning, who are we going to call? Who will take this fight? Elvis Costello will get off the couch, grab his bathrobe, grab his Uncle Rick, and head out, and he'll take the fight. So you're going against a very young but extremely talented songwriter. And I will say this. Given the fact that it's one against many in terms of songwriting, Elvis Costello outrights any single person on the other end of the album fight. In this case, it's 10-9, Earth, Wind & Fire.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
Motherfucker's got a lot of nerve around here. Huh? Here's a guy who has never written a horn arrangement. He has never orchestrated anything the size of Earth, Wind & Fire, and it's his debut album. Here's the way I saw it. If you want a big fanfare, a groove that's like a locomotive, it's punctuated with staccato horn hits, all that percussion, which I know D loves percussion.
I do.
I do too. Syncopation. The amount of syncopation in the Stone. That's like footwork. And that's like Muhammad Ali's footwork.
There's literally a master class in arrangement, in music, in the Stone.
Not only that, but if you look at the lyrics, they explore human truth, love, strength, meaning, dignity. Or do you want a little ditty that says it's Monday? Right? So that's, to me, a clear delineation. And you're right, Pete. This is the guy who took the fight on Thursday morning. And he's got fresh legs, and he sure is scrappy.
Yeah, and so I
He took a fight on Thursday morning.
right. And in terms of Elvis, you're right. It's his debut album, up against a really established group, like super established.
Yeah.
And Elvis was more, it's definitely more kind of homegrown, so it's one band, it's him, it's his songs. I think he recorded that in his garage. I'm not sure. Maybe it was his bathroom. Not that I'm biased.
This is a kid on the farm who can throw a curveball with a rock.
And he is,
This is a kid on the farm who can throw a curveball with a rock.
Right.
Playing the Kansas City Royals.
I'm not taking anything away from Elvis.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a
He's
musical
got a
genius.
95-mile heater.
It's like David and Goliath.
Yeah, it is.
Except that Goliath is not the bad person.
Round 2. Can't Let Go versus Miracle Man. Pete?
So I've got Can't Let Go in this album is just a song that doesn't stand out for me. There's a lot of similarity in all of the tunes on this album. So, when you look at what is good,
It's called cohesive.
in the Stone, or not as good as in the Stone. When you start off so strong, what's next, right?
Okay.
when we did Appetite for Destruction, the first 3 songs come out hitting hard. One of the 3 is a little weaker than the others, but then the 4th song is also a rocker, and you're like, oh, you know what? There's a difference. There's a difference between this song and In the Stone. Whereas Miracle Man has nice elements in it. You know, it's got a little rockabilly, it's got a little country, it's got some pedal steel. And I love the line when Elvis says, the thing she loves. Just there's a sarcasm in that. So not only is he delivering excellent lyrics, he's also performing it really well. For me, Elvis gets the better of Earth, Wind & Fire just by a tiny hair. But there is a difference there, and this makes everybody sit up and go, oh, well, that might be a fight here. 10-9 Elvis.
Okay. Wow. To me, round 2 was also a mismatch. I think Miracle Man is a great song in a bar. Can't Let Go is a great song in an arena. And that really comes down to the difference for me. There's a complexity that exists there. There's an amount of mass when it comes to music that Miracle Man just doesn't stand up to. Again, great song. He is a great songwriter for a rookie, for a guy who's outmatched and not yet ready. But I scored a 10-9, Can't Let Go. What'd you do, D?
I mean, I agree. I mean, I really like Miracle Man. And again, I like Elvis. But I think Can't Let Go, to me, is a great song. It's a great song. It's a strong song. Like In the Stone. Like, you know, it's just a great song. You know, it's definitely different. It's super different than Elvis Costello.
Yeah.
Miracle Man is a great song, but Can't Let Go is just, I mean, it's solid. The groove is solid. There's just, you know, Can't Let Go is one of those songs. It's kind of like a masterclass in music. You know, if you listen to all the elements and how they come together, to me, there's no comparison. And not to say that something that is, I don't know, quote unquote, more produced as opposed to something that is
a little more raw.
Yeah. Really, it comes down to the song. You know, Miracle Man is a great song, but I personally think Can't Let Go is a better song.
Okay.
So I did 10, Can't Let Go, and Miracle Man 9.
Well, I scored it the same way. I mean, I'm having a really hard time here with the fact that there is just, you know, the building blocks are different. The chemistry is different.
Right.
I do applaud that. I mean, even to Pete's point that in his opinion, Elvis Costello is a stronger songwriter by himself than anybody else by himself on I Am.
And let me just be clear on that. I'm talking lyricist. You know, like the construction. You guys.
Well, so if you're talking lyrics on I Am, and you should know that Allie Willis was the main lyricist on the album.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And who has more hit songs?
She does.
No. She's got a lot of songs. Elvis has a lot of songs. But Elvis has more bigger hits. He just does. It don't matter, man. I don't want to get sidetracked with that stuff. I love Allie Willis. I love what she's done on this album.
Honestly, I'm not that familiar with Elvis Costello's
I'm not
body
either,
of work.
so I don't know.
The dude's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for a reason.
I got three
Really
three hits.
Is Earth, Wind & Fire in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Allie Willis?
She part of the crew.
Okay. And she is in the Songwriter Hall of Fame, by the way. So she's got plenty of chops.
Allie, if you're listening, I want to get invited to the party. You don't have to invite Pete, but me and John.
Oh, no, make no mistake. I love Allie Willis.
He does love Allie.
I love her, man. I'm just
kidding.
I'm just trying to set the table where we're working from here. And we're talking, you guys are right. There's a powerhouse going against Elvis, but Elvis can hold his own.
No, I'm not. Elvis is where he's at in music for a reason.
Yeah.
And let me just say this. As a musician, as a songwriter, an artist, I'm not here to judge anyone, because this is art.
No, we are here to judge these things,
Well,
but
we are.
But we are coming from a place of love. The thing is, my point in this argument is to say that Pete says that he is a better single lyricist than anybody else on the other side of the equation here.
I disagree with that, but
and
okay.
and whether I disagree or not, what he's up against is he has to be a better everything than everybody on the other side. And
he does, but only because we chose these two albums.
Yeah.
Right? only because of that.
Yeah.
Oh no, they never ever thought like, I hope when these knuckleheads sit at Greenblatt's and break down the South.
Yeah, but when you're a debut artist like he was when this album was made, you're ready to take on the world, and you're saying, "Bring it on!"
Yeah.
You know, Buster Douglas gets an opportunity to fight Mike Tyson, and he says, "Well, this may be the only opportunity I get at this belt. So guess what? I'm going to go in there and take it, and I'm going to be far outmatched." And every once in a while, far outmatched goes, "Oh, I landed that left."
Although I will not compare Elvis Costello to Buster Douglas.
I'm just saying,
I get that.
In the realm of boxing,
Yes, I get that.
as this is an album fight, sometimes the kid has to take a chance, right? And it's like, hey, that kid has no business
and it's
stepping into that ring.
It's a great first album.
But every once in a while, it happens. So to say, and this is all in our imagination,
Yes.
that Elvis Costello's like, what is it? It's Thursday morning, and you guys want to fight on Saturday?
I'll take
I'm
that fight.
ready.
Yeah.
I'll knock that fool out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're
We're
gonna
calling
see.
again, kid. No, I'm already on the way.
Yeah,
I get that.
Right.
I get that. Yes.
So, this, and again, it wouldn't be in the ring if we didn't love Elvis Costello.
fuck.
Right. Okay.
Because Elvis
All right,
Costello is rock
You're
and
right.
roll like that.
He is.
The other thing I love about Elvis Costello is that fool is scrawny and he wears glasses and he's rock and roll as fuck.
I love Elvis Costello, and I think that Elvis loves Earth, Wind, and Fire. I think
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
that's just,
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why I'm down with Elvis.
Round 3 is After the Love Has Gone versus the two songs No Dancing and Blame It on Cain. And I'll go first. No Dancing and Blame It on Cain. Both good songs. Both. The thing about Elvis Costello is he's coming with these short tunes that are great for an attention span that allows for, hey, that's pretty cool. That's a nice tune. That's well constructed. I like it. All right, I'm done. And he's going to need two tunes to go up against the juggernaut of After the Love Is Gone, because that was David Foster in his infancy.
Yeah.
And Jay Graydon, not in his infancy, but still, the two of them together, along with Allie, they come up with this song. It is a song about loss, a song about, and once again, like you've said, if you want to talk about arrangement, if you want to talk about building blocks, it's just strong. I will say this, I don't want to blow any surprises, but for all the rounds that Elvis Costello has lost so far, and I'll say that I appreciate the strength of this album, I am scoring this 10-9 Earth, Wind, and Fire. And so far, rounds 1, 2, and 3 are 10-9 Earth, Wind, and Fire. But we're going to see how that goes, because not every album, in fact, no, let me say this. I was going to say not every album stays that strong all the way through. No album stays that strong all the way
true.
through.
Yes,
so we'll
that's
see
true.
how it goes. How did you score it, Pete?
Yeah, so for me, round 3, this is what good Earth, Wind, and Fire sounds like. This is the difference between the third song and the second song, right? There's a difference. It's a cut. And this is a little more prime cut. I think you guys are right. David Foster kills it on this. After the Love Is Gone, and especially for me, the horns fit in this song maybe better than any other song on this album. The opening fanfare of In the Stone aside, the way these horns weep throughout the song, I think it's the best use of horns out there. More powerful in the Stone, but here it's the beginning to end better. Okay, and let me just say this too. Elvis Costello's album is shorter in duration, but has more tracks. And so we've taken, and Mike LaPerry did this, so thank you to Mike. He took and combined a couple of the tracks for us to find the sweet spot so we can get these two albums in the ring together. Because we really wanted to, these are two Hall of Fame acts. We wanted to get them in the ring. So this is our compromise, is to put these two songs in there. By the way, I owned this album growing up. I played this a lot. And I love this, but I will tell you right now, No Dancing, probably the weakest track on the album, or the second weakest. It's not a fantastic song. It's not terrible, but it's going up against a monster. So for me, this is 10-9 Earth, Wind, and Fire. And again, a nod to David Foster because he's good. We'll say Blame It on Cain. That chorus is sticky.
That chorus is sticky.
It is.
Tell us your score, G.
So I did 10-9 Earth, Wind, and Fire. Basically for all the things that we've said so far. I mean, that's a great song. I really don't like No Dancing. I'm sorry. I just don't think that's a great song. I do like Blame It on Cain. I think it's catchy. I'm not sure what it means, but I think it's catchy. After the Love has gone is, I mean, that's a super like angsty, something that we've all gone through, I think.
Yeah.
So it's super relatable, but it's also a super beautiful tune. And so for me, being unbiased, I went with Earth, Wind & Fire on that one.
All right. Round 4. Keep it going for us. Round 4 is Let Your Feelings Show versus Allison.
I like Allison. I'm a soul music guy. And so that to me was that's a great song. You know, Elvis sung it great. It was super kind of like, so it's British, but it's like soul music, right? With the Fender Rhodes. And I gave that one to Elvis.
Pete, this is what Elvis does well. This is a song that's special. It's one of those songs that gets above the hit level, and you can't necessarily explain why it works, but here's the proof. There are a number of musicians that consider this their favorite song of all time. That when your peers look at that and say, this is my favorite song, that's special. When your peers cover your song and still can't take it from you, that's special. And that's what this song is. This is, you know, he sees a girl who's a checker, she's pretty, but she was prettier 10 years ago before the kids. And she settles in life, and he's singing.
I want to break up your marriage.
Nah, he's not trying to break the marriage. But he is recognizing her settling and calls it out because it's, you know, we all have tons of promise when we're 18, but then 10 years later, what did you have to do to get through life? And this is what that song's about. And that's a great point of view for a song. It's just fantastic. And then Let Your Feelings Show. Look, if I'm going to be critical of this song, which I'm going to do, this is where Earth, Wind & Fire is showing me some weakness. This is pop disco to me, where you've written a song, it's disco-centric, and it's poppy, and it just doesn't deliver like song 1 and song 3. And so these other songs are kind of left out there hanging, and you're like, man, I wish they would have captured that magic again.
Now, I ain't going to say it didn't deliver.
Well, I am. It did. I'm going to say,
you know, as Earth, Wind & Fire, the group that they were in what year was this? 79. I think that they delivered exactly what
1979 was asking for.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, and I think that you're right about that. This is a album that is of its time, and we talk about what's dated or not. This is a dated song. And what gets delivered is a right cross to the mouth of Earth, Wind & Fire, and they got to go grab their mouthpiece off the floor and get a standing 8. 10-8 Elvis.
10-8.
I mean, unless you like dated pop disco.
Bum, 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 bum.
Which one of the 9 songs has that? All of them have that in it.
No, they don't.
So here's the difference, okay?
I still gave it to Elvis, by the way.
Let Your Feelings Show is, we're in Los Angeles, and there is a lot of architecture around here, and one of the very popular genres of architecture around here is mid-century modern. Mm-hmm. Mid-century modern is dated. If you look at those houses, like, man, it's got the flat roof, it's got the, you know, or Art Deco. You take any one of those things and go, man, that's a dated art form.
Or you could say it's classic.
Or, yeah, now, if what you look at is a mid-century modern house that's built on the side of a cliff and it's got piers in it, and in 70 years after 15 earthquakes, that foundation has not moved 1 inch. That stucco has not cracked. The windows have not buckled. All of those things are true because of superior construction.
That foundation.
So to look at a mid-century modern house and go, nope, it's a loser because it's a mid-century modern house, is one aspect. But if you know what you're looking at and you start to realize this is the best constructed foundation in this entire neighborhood, maybe in the whole city. This is the best constructed, you know, go from the foundation up, from the slab to the chimney cap. And that's what Let Your Feelings Show is. It's a strong, strong song. Now, if you want to discount the fact that, or if you want to handicap it for the fact that it came out in 1979, I think it's an injustice not to look at it and say, holy cow, this foundation has stood this whole time. It has not moved an inch.
Not to say that. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about Allison. So Allison is a soul song. So the foundation of, while that came out, I think it was 77, this album. while that came out in 77, that foundation of Allison is a strong foundation in soul music, right? So to really look at the roots of where Allison came from, that's soul music. So, and I'm not, I agree with you. I agree with you, John, 1,000%.
Well, I haven't scored Allison yet. See, you don't know what you're agreeing with.
No, I'm agreeing with you because I gave it to Allison.
Okay.
I think that
You can't sleep on Let Your Feelings Show.
absolutely not.
Because that foundation has not moved 1 inch.
Absolutely not.
Uh-huh.
So, here's the thing about Allison.
Pants, my Sansa trousers, salmon colored, of course.
Oh,
And my pseudo silky shirt, green pattern with the salmon pants, and it's stylistic. Go ahead, sorry.
it is.
The last time I saw D with a microphone in his hand was at the Hotel Utah in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, that was like a month ago.
D was pretty good. And what was really impressive about it was that band got together and played that show without having rehearsed it in a year and a half. To some degree, it sounded like you guys hadn't rehearsed in a while, but everybody pulled off their parts.
Is that a bitch?
I know. and it was like a Tuesday night gig. So
No, it
come
was,
on, man. If I'm going to come
I
out
didn't-
on a Tuesday night, the best I can expect is really something south of what you delivered. So we had a great time. Of course, everyone in your band was smoking. And that's really what allowed you guys to pull it off. Like, we haven't seen each other in a year and a half. Guess what? We're playing a gig right now.
Yeah.
So, something to be said for that. And still, mouths agape all around that venue because people were like, holy cow, this band is smoking. The bass player in that band.
Oh, I saw that. I saw you guys.
Is Bliss.
Yeah.
He was our episode from earlier this week. Mm-hmm. So we had
was
a
that
great
this
time
week?
with him. I think it was this week or
okay.
last week. Last week. He's got a new album out of his own work. Mm-hmm. The favorite song that I've heard on that so far is his take of Allison. He does a spectacular job with the song, and he plays it and he sings with the bass, which means that he has to have a wide open, more open chording, and he has to leave more space in between notes, and he has to have a different approach. That song, though, is so strong that it can stand up to variations. Still, what I really like about Allison is that all of the things that Pete says that Allison is about are on the second layer of the song. He's not just saying, hey, girl, you look good. I wish we could go out on a date. I want to hold your hand and take you to the back room in the grocery store and do things to you. The meaning of the song is a layer deep. And that is songcraft that has stood the test of time. So if there's a difference here, it's because of the lyrics in Allison. The song structure is great. It's a tune that pulls you in and makes you think. And it makes you think about the things that he doesn't even say in the song. And that is quality songwriting. So I went 10-9. Allison. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with all that. I mean, Allison is a great soul song, and that's what soul songs are. Great. Exactly what you said, John.
Yeah. They make you think.
This episode of the Break It Down Show is brought to you by Lions Rock Productions.
That's us.
We publish, evaluate, and develop podcasts just like this one, consult others to build their own, and create associated content and content marketing strategies.
So if you're launching or expanding your social media presence, your business or your personal brand, or if you just want to take your media presence to the next level,
reach out to us on Twitter
at Pete A. Turner
or at JohnLG69
at the Break It Down Show.
There's 1,000 ways to get a hold of us.
Now enjoy the show.
Round 5. Boogie Wonderland versus Sneaky Feelings. Pete.
Boogie Wonderland is probably the Allison of this album. I don't know which one of these two songs are better, but these are the peaks of the album. Are you?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Go.
Okay, cool. All right. And this is where I wanted to first time mention Allie Willis, but since we brought it up earlier, but I will still say I love Allie Willis. And if anybody's life has a moment where you create a Boogie Wonderland, they write that shit in your gravestone. And there's no finer compliment than that. Like, this can be, and she's got more than one of these, but if you write, look, you want to have fun, and you've been a DJ John. If you want to have people move, you're going to play Boogie Wonderland. Even if they aren't ready yet, they're like, oh, Boogie Wonderland. Yeah. Everybody loves it. Everybody knows it. Even us white folk. We know this song.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah. This is a powerful, powerful song, and timeless and magic. You can always play this. Sneaky Feelings is nice. It's truly a fun song, but Jesus, Boogie Wonderland. This is a 10-8 round for Earth, Wind & Fire.
Ooh,
wow.
10-8
All
round.
right.
D, what'd you do?
I did 10-9, so I agree with everything. I think Sneaky Feelings is actually a good song. It's not Boogie Wonderland. I mean, Boogie Wonderland is this whole contradiction of what that title is. You know, it's actually kind of a dark song. If you listen to the kind of like Reasons for Earth, Wind & Fire, which was a breakup song, and yet people play that at their wedding. That's like their wedding. Yeah. So Boogie Wonderland is kind of the same thing. So it is. It's like the whole club vibe. So that's what they're talking about. So Earth, Wind & Fire being as deep as they are, like they are about having a good time. But Boogie Wonderland is about like the Studio 54 days, right? Is that what it was? Studio 54.
Yeah. Sounds like a disco song to me.
Hey, disco was a Grammy category, as Richard will tell you.
Right.
It's kind of a dark song.
And Johnny Manziel was a football player. Keep going.
Twice.
But so that's the thing about what I like about Boogie Wonderland is that it's this happy song.
Yeah.
Like musically, it's this happy song. But if you listen to the lyrics, you're talking about those kind of false pretenses that people used to go through, and I think still go through when you go to the clubs, and
everybody still
kind of that soulless, it's kind of a soulless existence.
Yeah.
To me, Boogie Wonderland is one of those songs that we've listened to all of our lives, not us necessarily, but in general, people, and it's like, yeah, this is a great party song, and it is.
You should have just bought a case of that wine.
I should have.
Jesus Christ.
But
Why are you getting so much shit wrong?
Oh, ain't that a... But Boogie Wonderland, it's, to me, the depth of Boogie Wonderland is just, I mean, there's a complexity to the whole idea of that song. It's like you think of it and it's like this party song, and it is, but it's really, if you listen to the lyrics, they're talking about not the most happiest, kind of a shallow existence in some of the people.
They're talking about sniff cocaine, wear shirt shirts,
right?
What you digging thing?
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that, but the mirror says you, right? Oh, baby, it don't work, right? And so that to me, that's classic kind of Earth, Wind & Fire.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, I scored it 10-9 Boogie Wonderland as well. I like Sneaky Feelings. I think Sneaky Feelings is a pretty good. It's catchy for me, and that's where Elvis Costello, the first thing that he'll do to you is hook you. And if he hooks you, then that's pretty good, and it feels good. When he really, really gets you is when the depth of his lyrics, provoke thought. Boogie Wonderland, though, the emotions, first of all. Man, It sounds so good. This is Maurice wielding his magic wand as a producer. And then, when we had Allie on our show, she talked about how the most excruciating thing that an artist can say to a songwriter is, you should hear what I did to your song. And she felt that way for many years about Boogie Wonderland.
Oh, right.
And I said, how could you feel that way? The song is crafted so well. It's constructed beautifully. It's got such a great flow. And then that bridge, I love that bridge. And she said, what bridge? And I said, all the love in the world can be mine. She said, that's the chorus. And I was like, wait, what? Now, we all know now that the chorus is what the chorus is. That's why the name of the song is Boogie Wonderland.
Right.
Boogie Wonderland. Right? So, that Maurice said, I know she wrote this as the chorus, but it makes a better bridge. I get how she must have felt, but eventually she came around. And she heard that song one day driving in the car and thought, oh, no. That's exactly what that song was supposed to do. So, 10-9 Boogie Wonderland. Round 6. Star versus Angels Want to Wear My Red Shoes. I think this, for me, is where the album I Am just starts to do what it's already been doing. And And Star is, it's an also-ran. It's one of those songs that we've said it a number of times on the show. Artists would kill for a song this good on their album once. If you're Earth, Wind & Fire, though, this song is not the best song on your record. Angels Want to Wear My Red Shoes, again, song about a girl and a deal made with the Angels to get the girl to break up with her boyfriend so that Elvis could have a shot at her. The meaning of the song is buried deep in there, and his ability to craft those kinds of songs and weave that kind of a tapestry is great. So I scored a 10-9 Red Shoes. What'd you do, D?
I didn't really get Red Shoes, although I think I scored it. I think I gave it 9 to 10. So I'll say this: I think that Star is the weakest song on I Am. I didn't really get Red Shoes though.
Okay.
So I scored, because I had to score Star 10. I would not have done that, but I had to, given the rules that I was given.
Yeah, it's a 10-point must.
I had to give it a 10, and I gave Red Shoes a 9. Only because I don't really like that song. I'm sorry.
Pete, what'd you do?
Well, we had a guy that knows music on the show. His name's Wes Maybe.
Uh-huh.
His name is D. Edward.
And he taught me something about when a great band is great and when a great band isn't quite great. And this Star is one of those songs, like you mentioned. It's probably one of the weaker songs on the album. There's nice singing. And look, Earth, Wind & Fire has more dudes playing the trombone than play on the entire My Aim Is True album. I mean, that's just a fact.
You know what?
No, I'm saying
More trombone.
Yeah, there's more. There's 6 dudes credited playing with trombone, and maybe that's assuming there's no ladies, but that's just trombones. There's way more violinists that were probably in the entire building, for Elvis.
No, true.
But that doesn't make Star a good song. Star is not a bad song, like you said, John. This is a quality song for a lot of people. But when you show up with all the odd number songs so far for Earth, Wind & Fire have been awesome. Boogie Wonderland, In the Stone, and After the Love Is Gone. That is the class of this album. Those 3. The even number songs just haven't held up for whatever reason, and I'm sure they didn't plan that, but maybe that was how they structured the album. Maybe there was some conscious thought. But I think if those guys were honest, they would say, yeah, these are 3 super powerful songs. The other ones are okay. And Angels Gotta Wear My Red Shoes is catchy. Like you said, he got his hook in there. Mm-hmm. And there is... Yeah, the drumming is great. That do-do. It's super simple.
Yep.
But Charlie Watts plays super simple.
Yep.
And he's undeniable. And it's the same kind of thing here. And with Clover as a backing band, you got pros.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not those elite level players that.
No, it's a good no. So not to say that.
Players.
I'm not saying.
And I'm not saying that either. But I'm talking like you don't have. We were talking the other day, John and I were about Stuart Copeland in the chair versus whoever the drummer was on this particular song. Like there's just going to be a difference. Mark King playing bass, he's just going to have more notes in the right spot without overplaying.
But sometimes he's going to overplay.
Yeah, sometimes he's going to overplay for sure. But
sometimes what you need is too short to say, bitch, and that's all he needs to say, right? And so that's yeah.
And so Star is not Boogie Wonderland.
All right. I concede that. I just didn't think that it was a better song. And again, I think the Star is the weakest song on the album. I just didn't think that Red Shoes was there. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I got it 10-9 Elvis.
Okay. 10-9 Elvis. Round 7 is Wait versus Less Than Zero. Score for us, D.
I'm just gonna say that the ringer on my phone is Wait.
Uh-huh.
So I'm slightly biased.
All right.
Oh.
Not quite as fair as I have been on the rest of the albums.
So now we're going to get a little unfair.
So
going to put you in a leaky rubber raft and kick you off into the lake, make you swim home in your polyester shoes and your Cuban heels.
So I mean, I gave Wait a 10, and Less Than Zero I gave an 8. I didn't really like Less Than Zero. I liked it less than I did Red Shoes.
Jesus, you are a hard man to please.
Yeah. How did you score it, Pete?
So, Wait for me, like you said last song, my disco fatigue is set in.
That is not disco.
I'm white. I want to dance. Like I want to be like, yeah. How do I do? Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do the hustle. If I'm doing the hustle, that makes it disco. Look, I love Earth, Wind & Fire, and There's nothing wrong with these guys at all, and it's multi-piece monster music. It's huge, it's enormous, but this song just doesn't get there. And I get it. This song is not a disco song, but this album is a disco album. This is just a lot of the same songs. They're trying to sell records.
Disco album,
but it is. It is, and it doesn't matter how much.
You say that like an insult.
and look, disco's fine in its genre, but it is
not
dated.
fine.
No, the thing is, it has become an insult, and that's what's wrong.
It's not an insult though,
but it's really not. If we get past that word, and
I love disco,
and that's the thing. If we allow ourselves to love disco, because I love Nile Rodgers, and guess what? He made disco records.
There are some amazing disco
But if
records.
you play this song, I'm like, oh, wouldn't you play a cooler disco song?
Boom,
No, I want you to
boom.
play something else.
Boom, boom,
But
boom.
it doesn't matter how much complexity. It doesn't matter how much complexity or virtuosity.
I mean, it's kind of like the '50s, though. It's a retro song. It's a
Yeah,
retro
it is
song.
doo-woppy.
You know, and that to me is that's what does it for me.
Yeah.
Is that it's this kind of retro tune. You know, it's not disco. You know, it's not a dance tune. It is. It's like a slow dance tune.
It's a ballad.
You know, it's a house party slow dance tune. It's about the angst of a guy, you know, and a girl, you know, or a girl, and it's super relatable. As opposed to Less Than Zero, which is
but the thing, so there's more in Less Than Zero than what you're getting out of it. So
maybe, but
so the song is decent at best. And again, virtuosity and complexity don't always win. And when you keep going and beating the same thing over and over again, you wear people out. And that's just what's happened for me at this point.
With
It
weight?
doesn't matter. It's my round now. So when you have the chance to do that, and then Less Than Zero comes up. Here's what Less Than Zero is about. It's about Elvis seeing a guy on TV who's a fascist, a Nazi, has a swastika technique,
Right,
and all
okay.
these things. And he's doing the political conversation that he does. Right, and Earth, Wind & Fire is not into that stuff very much at all, but especially not on this album. But he's going to a place that matters more. Here's where he gets even cooler still. So Americans don't get it, but they talk about Mr. Oswald, right? But he's not talking about Lee Harvey Oswald. He's talking about a fascist back in England. He had to rewrite the song a little bit later in later versions of it, so it made sense to us with Lee Harvey because we don't know the other guy. So he gets the gig on Saturday Night Live early on in the 70s to play as the band on Saturday Night Live, and they're like, we want you to play Less Than Zero. The label wanted it. Lorne Michaels approved it. He gets on, and he's like, I'm going to pull the Jimi Hendrix. So he starts Less Than Zero and goes, wait, no, this song doesn't make sense playing here. We're going to play Radio, and got kicked off of Saturday Night Live for the next 10 years.
Oh.
That's rock and roll. That's political commentary in his music. The song is hooky as fuck. And for those reasons, over something that's pedestrian, not bad, just pedestrian in comparison, this is 10-9 Elvis.
all right. Well,
So, with that said, I mean, Less Than Zero does have all of those things going for it. It had a complex message. It definitely warranted research. It's a great piece of songwriting. You know, as songs go, does it make me feel happy? Does it make me tap my foot? Not really. It's not that catchy. Wait, however, I have to say, Pete, is not a disco song. So whatever your ears are doing,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to figure out how to describe what that is, because what it's not is disco.
All right.
yes,
It's not
that's
that.
true.
It's a ballad.
It's a ballad. It's not even slow enough to be a ballad, though.
No, it is slow
It's in
enough to be
between.
a ballad.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to dance with your girl to this song, you're going to wrap your arm around her.
Okay.
You're going to pull her in by the waist. I think that defines ballad. Also, the fact that horns exist in it does not a disco song make.
No.
So, you know, I get if your ears are tired, but that's my challenge to you, is to figure out where the tiring happens and not define it by the word disco.
I do think, though, like you're explaining the song, because obviously you know this song way better than I do, you know, and given all that you said, you know, I think that's an important song. It's still not better than Wait, though.
I mean, if you want your songs to be like made out of cotton candy,
You went already.
yeah,
He
keeps
could have
going.
said all this.
He goes doing your own damn turn.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
More wine.
I like Wait.
More wine, please.
I
No.
like Wait a lot. I scored it 10.
I do. I
scored it 10-9 Less Than Zero. Round 8 is Rock That versus Mystery Dance and Pay It Back. Pete, where'd you go?
We've got a bit of a history with instrumentals, and they struggle to get out of the box. And it's not that they're weak, but they're taking on something bigger. In this case, the instrumental's taking on 2 different songs. So it's a little bit hard for Earth, Wind & Fire to get going. And I get it, this is a groove, and they're a groove band, but we've seen this groove already. And here's the thing that kills it for me for this. You've got Allie Willis sitting there in the bullpen ready to throw lyrics at any time. And that's what she did for this album, primarily, and they didn't use her. When you have Noel Redding sing, when you have the Ringo song, you're taking a risk. And in this case, it has nothing to do with why they designed the album. In this case, you're putting up an instrumental against 2 solid songs. And one thing, yes, complexity and the amount of people in the room and the ability to weave all that stuff together. I mean, that's what makes Earth, Wind & Fire one of the best bands of all time. And I'll go on record in saying,
thank you, Pete.
One of the best bands of all time. And I don't mean like in the top 50. I mean like in the top 10, if not top 5. And I'm happy to say that and defend that. You can see whatever.
Good. Let's end this right now.
But check. But it is an instrumental going against 2 songs that are very solid. And Elvis has no problem changing genres at the drop of a hat. You got some Chuck Berry in this album. You got some proto-punk. You got what I call light punk, where you're like, he hasn't quite figured that part of the thing out, but there's nowhere else to put him. He does what he wants to do. That's also rock and fucking roll. And when I hear Pay It Back, I can see a video in my head, and that's always a mark of a good song for me. Where I'm like, I can see this, he's walking down the street and he's doing these things. 2 songs against 1, words against no words. This is going to be My Aim Is True, 10-9.
Wow.
That's a tough act to follow, because you really did summarize that for me too. I think Rock That is a neat instrumental. It's got some pretty cool elements. Until I listened to this album all the way through, that's when I run across it. I don't just run across it as an Earth, Wind & Fire song. I reach for a lot of Earth, Wind & Fire songs. I don't reach for Rock That. We're talking about 2 songs versus 1. We're talking about lyrics and quality lyrics versus no lyrics. I also scored it 10-9, Mystery Dance and Pay It Back.
Oh, good for you guys.
What'd you do, D?
I did 10-8. Rock That. First of all, I think that Earth, Wind & Fire is an instrumental band. They had, from their very first album, they did instrumental songs. And every album, I think, they had instrumental songs. So that's not foreign to their whole concept of what they did. Mm-hmm. Well, Rock That is, it's in line with 1979 Earth, Wind & Fire. It's big. It's produced. It is also not the best song on the album. It's not a bad song, though. It's super not a bad song. I personally did not like Mystery Dance or Pay It Back, in terms of what I can remember about those songs, which is almost nothing.
Okay. That is memorable. So that you remembered nothing. So how did you score it?
10-8.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Round 9 is You and I. Now, You and I is them finishing strong.
Yes.
I think that, the things that we were kind of waiting around for when we listened to Rock That, I mean, if anything, You and I may have tainted what I thought about Rock That, because it made me feel like, oh, that's right. Rock That must have sort of been an also ran. And it makes me wonder how many songs they wrote for this album before they settled on these 9. But I liked You and I. I'm not angry and Waiting for the End of the World. Waiting for the End of the World was a neat way to end the album. Elvis Costello got better and better and better. With the glimpses of genius that were on this album, especially in Allison and in Red Shoes, I think that, he also got better at ending albums. So I scored it 10-8. Ooh-wee.
Oh-wee.
Yeah, You and I was finishing strong. Pete, what'd you do?
Yeah, You and I love the horns in this song. Earth, Wind, and Fire needed more of this, and I don't think that they got there overall often enough in this. And look, this isn't Earth, Wind, and Fire's greatest album either. This is Present Company excluded. This is the best album of all time. But if I'm going to be honest, this isn't, like you said, I'm not going to reach for this song. I'm going to reach for other songs on this album, and I'm not going to reach for this. But it is good, and it is masterful. And what I want to give the extra credit for what Earth, Wind, and Fire pulls off from 1 to 9 in terms of putting this together, for the musical direction, the nod to Maurice, and certainly I could have done a better job of doing that throughout this album, because you have to give him credit for what he does. All the whole White family, God bless and thank you so much.
Well, I got to be the White family.
Well, you know, someone's got to run that shit. So I think it's great, and I want to give them the benefit of the doubt here. Over 2 songs, I'm Not Angry is, it's all right. It's a good light punk song, and the other songs are solid. And Elvis doesn't miss too much on the entire album. He's got a lot of songs. I would have loved to have seen Watching the Detectives make it onto the album fight and trade out any one of the other songs, and we would have a significantly stronger matchup. Either way, this is for me is Earth, Wind, and Fire 10-9. And when I look at this fight and I see the combination of styles, it's really an MMA fight. This is like Conor McGregor coming into the ring against Floyd Mayweather. And you see Conor McGregor really hold his own. But ultimately, Floyd Mayweather out-generals him in the match. And maybe that's what's happened here, what we've kind of identified in terms of what happens. But I'll let you finish your round thing before I do the final stuff, John. But this is 10-9, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
All right, D. Close it up for us, man.
I agree with that. I actually did 10-8 to Earth, Wind, and Fire. I think that You and I is a super strong song. And I just didn't think that Elvis's album finish was well for our purposes, that those were the strongest songs to end this round with. I agree with you, John. I agree with you.
Hey, man, I agree with you.
All right. Well, while we're busy agreeing, let me tell you where we didn't agree. Pete scored this match 85-84 Elvis Costello. I scored it 86-84 Earth, Wind, and Fire. D, you scored it 88-79.
Football! I will caveat that whole thing by saying that Earth, Wind, and Fire is the greatest group in music history to me.
And I appreciate you saying that, man. And this was an exciting matchup. You do get to see what an incredible band Earth, Wind, and Fire is. And whether or not it's disco or soul or R&B or all of that, there's such a collection of incredible musicianship going on. And that's why they're in the ring. It's Earth, Wind, and fucking Fire.
Yeah.
And it's Elvis fucking Costello. These guys are out there doing it. Nick Lowe is going to go on to do a lot of great things in his career. He produces this album, and maybe 10 years later, this is an even better album. We're taking early, like we said, this is
Elvis's first album.
Right.
So recognizing that.
And as a guy that loves Elvis, one of my absolute favorite acts, he doesn't have strong albums. He's kind of like Queen, where he's real peaky. And he doesn't have a low floor like Queen does, but he doesn't always get over the bar. And I've always thought that about him. Like there's 3 or 4 good songs every album, and then the rest of the stuff is like, I don't know if I get it or not. Man, here I think they got there more often, and I think because of the genre specificness of Earth, Wind, and Fire's, that's what the difference was for me. It kept ringing the same bell over and over again for me. And I know from your point of view, because you're an actual musician, and I'm just a dumb white dude, I'm like, God damn, there's so much of the same thing, and it just wore me out.
I think that is really the viewpoint that I was waiting for you to articulate throughout this whole thing, and is that Elvis Costello is, he's outnumbered, he's outmatched in terms of just sonic power, but his ability to navigate a wide landscape for a guy who at the time he recorded this album had a fucking regular job, is outstanding. And his ability to take us into a song and have us leave that song going, you know what? The first time I listened to that song, I thought it was about this. And now that I've listened to it more times, I realize that it's about something that he didn't ever say the words to. That's masterful. And he absolutely deserves every bit of the attention that we gave him in the years that followed this record. Earth, Wind, and Fire is Earth, Wind, and Fire. I will say that they are the greatest band that ever happened.
Thank you, John Leon Guerrero.
Wait, so, okay, hold on. Since we got a couple minutes before we get to the hour, then let me push you on that. And I don't mind doing this because I want to give the audience the benefit of hearing some more from you on that because you owe that. So if we're going to talk about the best bands ever, for whatever reason, people hate the Eagles, so we'll eliminate them just because a lot of people just hate them for some dumb fucking reason. Yeah. So we'll take them out.
A lot of people know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, no, right. But we'll just take them out. Just
Eagles is also one of the greatest bands.
Oh, no doubt. If you want to get into a fight, that band will hurt you bad.
Yeah.
Are they better than the Stones?
Stones is they're pretty great too.
Wait, are we talking about is Earth, Wind, and Fire
yeah.
better than the Stones?
Oh. I mean, they're different. You know, I mean, I think.
All right, so let's do it this way. Mount Rushmore of bands.
Uh-huh.
With the Rolling Stones on it. So that's not a yes.
No. Well,
Who's a
the
yes?
thing is, when you say that, you're asking for, are they the top four? And then I have to consider 100 other bands,
right,
at a flash.
Yeah.
And so, okay, let's say, for instance, that they are, and maybe they're number 4 out of 4.
And are we talking solo acts, or are we talking just bands?
No, if you're talking about bands,
okay,
yeah. Earth, Wind, and Fire is on
right.
that mountain.
Okay.
If you put the Beatles,
okay,
the Stones,
okay, Zeppelin,
and you got room for one more. Maybe it's Zeppelin. And see, now I'm firmer about those 3, but I got to really think about that 4th one.
Is Jimi Hendrix
more of a solo act in this case? Is
that right? Well, we're only talking about bands?
Well, if we're talking about Jimi Hendrix, we can talk.
I'll tell you right now.
We're talking about legacy.
Jimi Hendrix isn't in that. They didn't do enough. Dead by 27, not enough songs.
Yeah, but his legacy still rings on.
That's good for top 20.
Okay. I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, because there's other bands. You would have to say a lot of other bands, like the Eagles, I think would outperform Jimi Hendrix in terms of what they've done.
And if we say that, we could say the Foo Fighters.
Sure.
And people could say, well, they don't have the legacy that Jimi Hendrix has. But if we wait 20 years and see what the Foo Fighters' legacy looks like, we might be going, damn.
Well, see, for me, Jimi Hendrix, one, in his very super short career, you know, and that's not even looking at. That's
got
just
a lot done.
Yes, and his influence
a lot of things.
And his influence on music, I don't think that there's another greater guitar player, you know, or musician
that may be true.
Kind of did what Jimmy did.
8th grade girlfriend, her influence was undeniable.
Yeah,
she did the greatest amount of. But maybe that's just because she was my girlfriend in the 8th grade. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if I was still with her today, I'd be like, I got to get away from this bitch.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Here's the other test: is Jimi Hendrix goes in that corner and plays his best song. Kenny Rogers plays in this corner. Which guy's left standing at the end of that fight? Kenny fucking Rogers would play over and over and over again. And when Jimi Hendrix was out of ideas, because that's all he did, because he was dead at 27, Kenny Rogers would have 4 more hours to go. There's just not enough there. Influence is something.
Well, I mean, if you really looked at apples to apples, let's say Jimmy didn't die,
but he did.
Right, and we don't. And that's the point: is that we don't know.
Yeah,
we may have discovered in the 10 years that followed Jimi Hendrix's death that he gave us all he had in those short years. Whereas the Stones kept going and kept going and kept going. And we can't say, well, you know, we don't know. Maybe if they would have died, they didn't die.
I mean, the Stones is a great band. I mean, there's no doubt.
Right.
Like, there was absolute. As a matter of fact, I just did a thing. So I do this thing at the Whiskey A Go-Go every now and then. And they have this thing called Ultimate Jam Night on Tuesday nights. And it's like all these studio musicians. And we did a Rolling Stones night. And I played on, as a percussionist, I think, 11 to 15 of the 20 songs. I had no idea that the Stones had so much percussion on their songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And their songs are great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great band.
Right. So now you got to carve out room for the Stones or the Eagles or AC/DC or U2. And all of a sudden, Mount Rushmore gets really
right. So
crowded.
for me, I prefer not to have Mount Rushmore.
All right. What do you want to have?
I don't want to have anything. I just want to soak up all of it.
But John said that Earth, Wind, and Fire was
They
greatest
absolutely are.
Okay. Well, that's what we're trying to figure out, like what that.
But I don't think Maurice would even approve of them being carved in stone.
But they're in the stone.
They are. Thank you, Pete. And there's my case.
I don't understand that. Yeah, that might be the wine talking there.
Yeah. How many glasses of that shit have you had?
I've had at least a bottle and a half.
Look, it's hard. This is really hard. And when you see the overall fight card with the other guest judges that help us kind of sort out what's what, you do stand out, D, and that's fine because that's why we do this. But you do see that there is a difference. But it's also, like my buddy Mike is musically inclined a lot of the ways that I am. We owned Elvis Costello albums.
And let me just say this. Is for me, again, and I don't know if I said this on air, but I'm not here to judge art. Like, I think Elvis is amazing. His career proves that.
Yeah.
For me, I grew up on Earth, Wind, and Fire. To me, Earth, Wind, you can't. That's like touching my mom. My mom's the greatest mom of all time, right? For me, Pete.
No, I was D's mom.
Oh. Let me back my mic off. Oh. But so I think that it's art. It's all art, and it's all good.
Yeah, man. We want everybody to buy these albums and spin them on Spotify and everything else. I mean, look, we just got My Aim Is True, and I Am more spins than they've had in ages because of all the people that listen to it. So I mean, this is what it's about: having a conversation, even if we disagree. Like, we're all getting along great, having a great time. And Lord knows we need more conversations that allow us to have conversations.
And if we introduce Elvis Costello and Earth, Wind, and Fire to a whole new group of people who have never heard either of them,
that is the point.
That's the most amazing thing.
That is the point. So I will say this, everybody. Go buy I Am. You will love it. Go buy My Aim Is True. You will love it. These records may change your life. If they don't change your life, you probably aren't listening to them right. So
something's wrong with you.
Yeah, give them a chance. We think you're going to love them. We love doing these album fights. D, next time we do this, the other lesson that I learned is we got to do this with an album that's not an EWF album, because D and I just just get back to back and draw our swords and take on all comers. So we should.
How dare you? How dare you?
John would defend even when he had it for Elvis. That's great.
Anyway, thanks everybody for listening.
Hey, thanks for having me on too.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting